we ask Fran MacIssac, the wife of Donnie MacIssac, to come to the stage, please? Well, the voice was oh so recognizable to sport people in Cape Breton through the 1950s and 1960s. When Donnie MacIssac spoke, people listened. They knew they were getting the straight goods, no flash, pizzazz, just good, honest sports reporting, just the facts. Donnie started his broadcasting career at CJFX in Antigonish, moving to Sydney with CJCB in 1950 and remaining there to be eventually credited with pioneering news and sports information gathering in Cape Breton. He easily matched names and faces of the athletes he covered. He made his hockey broadcasts colorful and informative, keeping the home folks apprised of activities when Sydney teams were on the road and keeping them entertained when the teams played at home.
We worked together at CJCB in Sydney on sports mainly and also in news. He was a fine broadcaster, a very hard-working guy who made a very valuable contribution over many, many years after I left there. He was the sports director at CJCB radio and television. So Donnie had a very distinguished career. He was a very sweet guy, and he was marvelous to work with, one of the most cooperative guys I've ever known. And he was a soft, easy-going, don't get too excited type of individual.
He was not only a familiar voice and face for the electronic media audiences, he made himself known to the community by actively participating in charitable events. He lent his name to many while serving on committees of others. When the Canada Games was held in Sydney in 1987, who was there to take charge of the media center? It was Donnie MacIssac. When a junior team was proposed for Sydney, who was one of its founding members? Donnie MacIssac. When the Cape Breton Metro's hockey tournament was founded, and it became the premier invitational high school hockey tournament in Eastern Canada, who was there at the start? It was Donnie MacIssac. And when young reporters sought advice, or even when they didn't, who was there to give it to them? It was Donnie MacIssac. He indeed served his communities well.
He was a builder. He was a fellow who supported him, and he was a booster, I suppose, you know, to a very large degree. And if it was a worthy cause, Donnie was right there and was the first guy to help you.
He was on the initial board of governors of this Hall of Fame, on the Cape Breton Boxing Commission, Nova Scotia Boxing Authority, and was the first Nova Scotian elected president of the Canadian Professional Boxing Federation. And he wasn't all sports. He was the founding president for Development and Peace for the Diocese of Antigonish, president of the St. FX Alumni Association, served on the board of governors of both St. FX and the University College of Cape Breton, a member of the communication and transportation sector for the Nova Scotia Voluntary Planning Board, was involved with United Way and the Canadian Association for the Mentally Handicapped. Glib, articulate, expert, accurate, fair, responsible, able to inject excitement into the most mundane event. An excellent interviewer, he talked to hundreds of prominent sports personalities, local, regional, national, and international. But above all, he was a caring man who devoted his time to his family, his community, and in following the passion of his life, sports, to the sport fans of his beloved Cape Breton.
He was a dedicated, devout Cape Bretoner who decided to stay right there. He began his radio career at CJFX in Antigonish. And about a year before I began in Sydney, about the same time, I guess, we both started in 1948. I started in Sydney and he was in Antigonish, and he was doing hockey and sports and general news, things there. And then he came to Sydney and joined us. And he never looked back. He stayed at CJCB for many, many years, until I think about perhaps the 70s. And he moved into a community relations job with DevCo, which was very appropriate for a guy like Donnie, because the community loved him. He was one of those guys that he embraced the community, and it was a reciprocal thing. Everybody loved him.
So, ladies and gentlemen, let us acknowledge the newest inductee as a media person to the Nova Scotia Sports Hall of Fame, Donnie MacIssac. Present the Hall of Fame induction certificate to Fran MacIssac on behalf of sponsor AVW Telev is their director of the Atlantic region, Brad Burrell. And to present the Hall of Fame pin is longtime friend and associate of Donnie MacIssac and a fellow broadcaster, a member of the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame, inducted as a builder in 1999, Pat Connolly. Fran, what do you think Donnie would think about this tonight?
He'd be very proud, delighted, as we all are. Thank you.
Can you talk about what was his lifelong passion, not only his family, but also sports?
Sports definitely was his passion. Any sports, yeah.
Day to day, week to week, year to year?
Yes, hour to hour.
Yeah. Final word to Mrs. MacIssac. Thank you, Fran.